warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, welcome to our third episode in season 1, Women, and today inshallah we are going to talk about how we can take care of ourselves as women. We know that as women we are natural caregivers. We like to take care of others, whether we are paid or not, whether we are promised or not promised. But when we find that things are not okay, we feel obliged to take care of things. Now, as we take care of others, shouldn't we be taking care of ourselves? And is it true that taking care of ourselves is expensive? Is it true that taking care of ourselves is time consuming? So today we are going to look at simple ways that we can use to take care of ourselves. And taking care of ourselves is also part and parcel of our religion, right?
Yeah.
You can tell us about the hadith, inshallah.
Okay, just to highlight a few points about what I'm about to read. The hadith is most likely known to most of you. This woman was complaining to the Prophet ﷺ that the husband is not fulfilling his rights to her. So she went to complain, and then the Prophet ﷺ called the man, and this is how the hadith goes. Aisha radiallahu anha reported the Prophet ﷺ sent for Uthman ibn Maz'un, and he came. The Prophet said, "Oh Uthman, do you not desire my practice?" Uthman said, "O Messenger of Allah, no, by Allah, I seek your practice." The Prophet said, "Verily, I sleep and I pray, I fast and I break my fast, and I marry women. Fear Allah, O Uthman, for your family has rights over you, and your guest has rights over you. Verily, your own self has rights over you. So fast and break your fast, pray and sleep." Sunan Abi Dawud.
The last part of it.
Yeah.
Verily, your own self has a right over you.
Yeah.
And this right is taking care of yourself as a person. As you give to others, as you fulfill your religious duties, make sure your cup never runs out. Make sure you keep filling your cup, right?
And I think most people think of self-care as a selfish act. You know, it's not selfish because you have to, like you said, you have to fill your cup to pour to others. You see, so it's not a selfish act, and it's something we need to incorporate to our daily routine. Yeah.
So what are these categories of ways in which we have to take care of ourselves?
I think there's so many ways you can take care of yourself, and the most general one is doing what you love. You know, doing what you feel is right for you. And apart from that, I think as Muslim women, we know that we have duties to fulfill at home as homemakers, as people who are educators of a nation, you know, and as people who people should learn from. First of all, a very important aspect is, you see, I like to divide it into 3 parts basically. So taking care of your soul, taking care of your body, and taking care of your mind. So briefly, I'll just go through this. Taking care of your soul is it's like the foundation of the other two. Why am I saying this? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created humans to do ibadah, created humans to pray to Allah, right? So whatever you're doing that is in the religion, whatever you're doing, it's an act of ibadah. Whatever you're doing that has been ordained by Allah to be done, that is act of ibadah. And that is the basic, that is the foundation of taking care of yourself. Why am I saying this? Because you're feeding your soul. You see, the soul, just like the body, has needs. And you know. So how do you take care of your soul? How do you do this? It's simple. You know, praying 5 times a day and sunnah when you can. That's part of the basic part of taking care of yourself. Reading Quran every single day after Fajr or at night before you sleep, you know. Doing istighfar, you know, because there's so many benefits of istighfar. And I think most people have to, they view self-care as having to go out of your way, you know, to do something.
Spending a lot of time.
Yes, and it's something very small. You can just do 5 minutes of Quran, 10, 15 minutes according to your schedule, you know, every single day, and you nourish your soul.
That, you are nourishing your soul by doing that.
Yes, so that is part of taking care of your soul. And the other part about self-care I would like to say is taking care of your body, you know. I'm talking about physically, eating healthy, you know, sleeping the right amount of time, taking the small naps, qailula, that the Prophet ﷺ advised us to take, and also
Can you do
exercising.
which time is this?
Okay, it's mostly it's between it's said to be between Dhuhr and Asr, but some people say it's between after Salat Dhuhr till Dhuhr. So it's a small nap. It doesn't take that long, so it's just like 20 minutes of the day. It energizes you. Yes. So and about taking care of the body, another part is exercising. I'm not talking about you have to go to the gym. I'm saying you have to keep your body active because it's beneficial for your brain, it's beneficial for your muscles, it's beneficial for your body. Why am I saying this? Because you see, when you're actually actively exercising, whether you're running, whether you're taking a walk, the blood is circulating throughout your body, which nourishes your brain. Your brain is also receiving blood. It makes you more creative. It makes you think better because that's what your brain feeds on.
Okay, let me just mention an example of an exercise that is very, very cheap. Skipping, rope skipping, that is. You can get a rope at how much? I think you can get at 200 or 500. That should be something that you do every morning when you wake up. After praying Salat al-Fajr, you take your rope and you take like 5 minutes so that you can activate yourself. You can activate your mind. You can do it in your room. Even if you live in a busy house, you have to set time for me.
That's true. And another thing is engage your kids. People usually say, okay, that is if you're a married woman. People usually say that, oh, the kids are out playing and you're just there seated in the house. I mean, go and play with them. It's part of exercise. They're running around with the ball. Just go and play with them. I mean, keeps your body active. It's part of taking care of yourself. You don't always have to sit and just do the boring work in the house. Yes.
So we were talking about taking care of your physical self. Have we exhausted all the ways we can take care of our physical self? We've mentioned sleep.
Yes.
We've mentioned eating, but I think we didn't mention eating like in a profound manner. How do we eat in a way that it feels that we are taking care of ourselves?
Okay, from the religious perspective, is you're not supposed to eat until you can't move. It's not even healthy for you. You're supposed to eat to your satisfaction, but not to like overly fill to the point that you can't even drink water. So I think that is one of the most basic parts of eating healthy.
And also giving attention to yourself when you're eating. It's just like when you're breastfeeding a baby. You are told by medics that when you're breastfeeding, you're supposed to give attention to that kid you're breastfeeding, because that is what they call the bonding time, where the kid is actually bonding with his mother. And most of the time when you look at the baby at that time, the baby is usually looking at the mother in the eyes. So you can't be breastfeeding and you're busy looking somewhere else. The same way when we are eating, like I'm a phone addict. Not that much, but I do. So this is a challenge to all of us out there who are phone addicts, that let's try at least once in a while. Let's make a good meal for yourself and then take time to eat that meal without any distraction, without watching TV, without streaming on the internet, chatting. Just let's give ourselves that me time when we are eating, and we will see the benefits of that, inshallah. So I think we've covered the aspects of physical ways we can take care of ourselves.
And also about the eating part, it's part of ibadah, because there is adab, there are adab of eating. There are certain ways you should eat, like eat what is in front of you, stuff like that. Don't talk when you're eating. It's part of what makes you focus when you're eating, because if you're not focusing, you're just eating and then talking, and stuff like that. So I think what you mentioned is connected to that.
We can move to the other aspect of taking care of ourselves. We've talked about how we can take care of our souls. We talk about how we can take care of our mind, of our physical body. Now let's talk about how we can take care of our mind.
Oh, okay. So, it's a very interesting part about taking care of your mind, because the mind feeds on what you give it to, what you give to it. You know, if you give it negative thoughts, it will feed on that. If you give it positive thoughts, it will feed on that. And sometimes, you know, you might be exhausted. You've been running around, you've been taking care of your kids, you've been going to school, and then you start feeling exhausted because, oh, what can I do? What else can I do during the day? What have I done that is going to push me forward towards my goal? And you can't even find anything. So at this time is where, if you feed your mind anything apart from being grateful for the fact that you actually saw another day and you've been a good Muslim that day, which is the most important thing, it may actually drain you because the thoughts keep piling up. Another thing about the negative thoughts I want to say is, you know, there's a saying, a hadith, I think, I'm not sure, I think it's a hadith, you should put it in the description, about friendships, the kind of friendships we have. If you have good friends, you're going to have good behavior. You know, if you have friends that lead you to the right way of Islam, you're going to have a good life, because that is part of taking care of your mind. Like I said, the mind feeds on what you feed it. Yeah. So I think choosing the kind of company we have is part of taking care of your mind.
You shouldn't hang out with people who put you down.
Yeah.
People that are always there to make you feel like you are not worth. You feel like you need to please them in any way. So we should actually, if we want to take care of our mind, then if there is no one who can act as a good companion, then we have to stay there for ourselves and wait for the right people.
Yes, true. And this is to the sisters out there. Be your sister's keeper. You know, be that good company that your sister needs. Yeah, it's very essential. Another thing I think about taking care of your mind is knowledge. You know, seeking the right kind of knowledge, because your mind feeds on something. It has to feed on something, and if it doesn't feed on something, it's going to just wander around into very bad thoughts, you know. So seeking knowledge is part of taking care of them.
Okay, and then there is something else. Walking in nature, interacting with nature is also a good way of taking care of our minds, because we feel it as human beings when we have long days and we just go to the beach or we just walk around, we take a nature walk. There is always a difference between us being outside there and between us being in the house.
Yeah.
And you told me that there is a medical aspect of it.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, okay, so medically speaking, scientifically speaking, I would like to say, most of the world are right-handed people. So when you're right-handed, the brain is divided into the right hemisphere and the right side and the left side. So if you're right-handed, mostly it's the left side of your brain which is more logical, and the right side which is more emotional than logical. So working in the nature, how is that connected to it? It relaxes your right side of the brain because it's the emotional part. It's just when you see something nice, you just feel happy, and you know happiness is emotional, so it makes you relax. So it's good actually. So you just take 5-10 minutes walks into the nature at least every week to help you relax and declutter your mind.
Yeah, and even if you live in a busy place, we give a good example as Nairobi. There are always parks there, right? Or even in Mombasa. And do they charge at the park? They don't, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. So you can just go there and sit down just by yourself, look at whatever is happening around, and I'm sure you're going to feel a lot of relief after that. So spending time in nature is actually very, very important for us as women, because it is stress relieving. It makes you feel relaxed, it makes you feel fresh, it makes you feel grateful, it makes you feel thoughtful. So even if we have busy schedules, at least once in a while, once in a week, or once in whatever schedule you have, spend time in nature.
Yes, it's very essential. I think we've talked about taking care of your mind, your body, and soul. Yeah, that's the most essential thing. Do you have anything to add?
I think I don't. We've exhausted everything. Let me just mention so that we feel like we've exhausted everything. So we've talked about how we take care of our minds. We mentioned being grateful. We mentioned
taking nature walks, seeking knowledge.
We mentioned having
Seeking
the right
knowledge and
knowledge.
having the right company.
Yeah, having the right
Feeling
company.
your thoughts.
Meditation. We didn't talk about meditation. So most people take meditation as a very complex thing, and meditation is just you deciding that every morning or every evening before I go to bed, I'm going to make sure I take some time and disconnect from everything and connect to my inner self. Ask yourself what is wrong. Ask yourself, like, listening to your thoughts. That is basically what meditation is. Listening to your inner self, accessing the inner part of you. So this makes sure that you are, like, after meditating normally, I've done this several times, it makes you feel relieved. It makes you take off things that were so heavy. Like, it's so relieving, and it's something that we should do more research about, know how to meditate in the right way, so that we can see the benefit of it, we can reap the benefit of it.
Yeah, we should try that actually.
Otherwise, I don't have anything to add on that. We just have to wrap up the show, perhaps by emphasizing on how important it is for women to take care of themselves, because when you take care of yourself, it's when you're going to be able to take care of others. And with whatever we've shared, this shows that taking care of yourself is actually not an expensive thing.
Yeah.
It's something that we just have to learn to fit in our daily schedule, like having the right people to accompany you, being grateful. These are very small things that we can fit in our life.
Yes,
having me time, having time where you are alone, you listen to yourself, you ask yourself what is wrong, what have you messed up in your core values. You see, this is really important if we want to be productive women out there. That is my wrap up.
And I would like to emphasize the fact that self-care is not selfish. That is one thing that most people say, that I'm being selfish because I'm taking care of myself. No, it's actually an act of ibadah, because you're following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So it's something that we should, like she said, we should fit into our daily routine, and hopefully our lives are going to get better, inshallah.
Inshallah. One last thing, we should not forget that we are human beings. We should accept, that should be the first thing in our mind, that we are humans, and because we are humans, we cannot just work, serve. We need to have me time. So that is all, guys, for today and for now. Inshallah, see you in the next episode, and ma'as salam.